And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Signposts Live. Good to see you all here today. And we're going to be doing some more discussions. We're going to be taking some Q&A here very shortly. We're going to be looking into a lot more exposure of scandals to come. Right? We'll be looking at some more of what's happening in the world, more current events. We're also going to be doing some more grid work, just as I was talking about last Thursday, when we were putting in that energy within the grid to help protect and preserve the oceans of the world as well too. We're going to do a little bit more work there as well. So you guys may hear a lawnmower or a weed whacker in the background. Those are just the maintenance workers outside my building doing some yard work. So in case you hear that, that's what's going on. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start off firstly with some announcements. So the promo code for Etherics right now is September 20th. Okay, so all capital letters, September 20. You can receive 20% off. It is valid until the end of day, September 12th. You can go to the website, etherics.co. You can also check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ethericsstore. You can also check out our social media on Facebook and on Instagram as well too. I've also just talked about the brand new essential oils that are available, and one of my favorite ones, of course, is the cedar wood. And I was talking about that in a video that I just uploaded last night relating to the cedar wood essential oil, that it represents the white vibrational band, and that this actually helps you in tremendous amounts of ways. I was even working with it a lot more deeply last night, and I was just getting this incredible, peaceful, blissful, Zen-like state happening within me. As you basically just take the oil, you start inhaling it, doing that several times, and you're just so at peace. I could actually feel the central channel, the Sushumna, opening up as well too. We also have a lot of other amazing oils. Again, you can check out the video on my YouTube channel, and again, you can go to etherics.co. On the homepage, you'll see a spotlight feature of the essential oils there as well too. So feel free to check that out. And of course, enrollment for the Etherics Academy is still available. It is available up until September 18th. So again, just go to ethericsacademy.com. You'll be brought up to speed about all of the amazing things that we're going to be talking about there. Working together with healing, working together with Kundalini activation, learning a lot more about the subtle bodies, learning a lot more about the bigger picture of reality, learning how to be a profound spirit healer, learning how to develop yourself and work with your energy body, learning how to self-heal, learning how to heal the environment, learning how to efficiently heal others, learning the top-down method of healing, which pretty much no one teaches, right? This is what I refer to as the top-down healing method, and that is extremely important to realize, to work with. As you start to learn to work with that, you are going to be a profound healer as you work with yourself, as you work with others, as you work with the environment. So all of this is being taught over a course of 6 months. Again, we just did our first class last Saturday. We have our next class here this coming Saturday. And as a requirement, you do not need to participate in the live classes. Everything is recorded and archived. And of course, you can take part of the course in that way if you wish. Every module has an end of module exam. Once you pass the exam of a first module, then you move on to the next corresponding module, and it continues that way all the way up into module 6, and there is one module every month. So again, a lot of great information, a lot of great insight, knowledge is being shared through the Academy. I already have a whole bunch of students, well over 80 of them right now. So there's still room, there's no fixated amount of space. So again, we are taking more students. So again, it is up until September 18th. Once September 18th rolls around, that will be the end of enrollment for the next several months. So it's good to get on that when you can. I know a lot of people are last minute. They'll do it like the very last minute. And then I get people complaining to me when it's September 19th. Oh, Brad, I didn't get enough chance to sign up, guys. I've been telling you this for weeks. Make sure you're signing up on time, okay? Make sure you get to that September 18th deadline. This always happens to me. Right? I say that there's a deadline, it happens, Next morning, I get a whole bunch of emails from people. Oh, Brad, I'm sorry. Could I please try and make it? And then like, no, guys, you snooze, you lose. Okay, so make sure you get on before September 18th. Make sure you enroll before September 18th. Okay, there's no exceptions to that. So please make sure that if you are interested, enroll before that time. Okay, and we also have some updates with the New Earth Teaching sessions. So we also have the new distance healing session that is available as well. So healing up to 3 areas through the distance healing session. So we've received up to 3 healing areas that can be worked on through distance healing. So that is now available on the newearthteachings.com website. Okay, and of course private sessions and 3-question private email sessions are available. Pretty loud out there. I'm trying to not give it any attention, but yeah, they're really winding up those weed whackers. So 1-to-1 private sessions, distance healing sessions, and 3-question private email sessions are available on New Earth Teachings. Finally, with our last announcement, everything on the New Earth Teachings backup channel here is, New Earth Teachings channel is backed up onto Odyssey, odyssey.com/@newearthteachings. You can feel free to click on the link and check it out. All right, and you can follow us there as well. All right, I'm still trying to get my bearings together. This person outside is just cranking up the weed whacker like crazy, so I don't know if they're stopping anytime soon, so might have to bear with it. Sorry about that, guys. It's kind of funny. There was one week where I had the smoke alarm problem, and there's another week where I'm having a weed whacker problem, so always seems to get interrupted when I'm doing the signposts, right? But that's okay. We will work through it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started today. We're going to be talking about certain intentions. Like I said, really when we're looking at the state of the world right now, we are seeing a whole new world birth. I feel like we're just kind of in the transitional labor time of something tremendous coming about. But all of these other things are falling away very, very quickly, right? We're just seeing a lot of these old regimes. We're seeing a lot of these old agendas falling away very, very quickly. I mean, by now, they were basically supposed to start pushing this other viral thing. I'm not too sure if they're talking about it too much on MSN. They're trying to put new variants of COVID on, or if they're trying to talk about a new water-based virus or anything of that nature, right? So what we're going to do today is we're going to be working with the grid once more. We're going to work with the grid matrix, and we're going to basically make the entire world immune to any particular form of agenda that surrounds the nature of viruses, that will not lead to any shutdowns, that will not lead to any quarantines or any lockdowns or anything of that nature. And if there is any attempt to falsely do this, then basically it is, again, like I said, receiving that kind of instant karmic rebound altogether, okay? So we are working together with taking that intention, right? It's not so much about the thought, it's the intention behind it. It's not about visualization. It's just being able to focus your mind together with the intention that we're attempting to put together, and then just working with the source center vibration to align that into the grid, right? So if they're not doing anything in regards to a water-based virus or anything, that's great. Then that means that what we're doing is working, okay? Because that was certainly one of their big plans, was working together with something in the water, or the idea of trying to poison water supplies or anything of that nature. That was certainly one of their agendas. And if that's not flying, great. That means we're all making a difference here. So that's fantastic. It doesn't take many of us to do this, right? If I basically have 50, 100 of you working together in intention, and we're supercharging that, and we're putting that behind the source center vibration, and that's going into the grid, that's going to have an immense charge, and that's very, very difficult to break. You just really can't even break it, because it just results in rebound. All right, so we're going to do that next now. And like I said, we're just going to work together with canceling any attempts of false agendas, right? If there was an actual, I would say, guys, if there was an actual viral outbreak, believe me, it would be taken care of so quickly before you could sneeze, right? It's just we have all the technology that if there was an actual outbreak of something like that, it would be contained so fast, it would never be allowed to spread. And with the advanced technologies that humankind has right now, something that would be actual like that would be taken care of within a snap of a finger, right? It would be taken care of so quickly. So being able to quarantine an actual threat, being able to take care of an actual form of new disease or new virus that was a genuine outbreak, done like that. And there'd be no way that it would ever spread out to be a worldwide epidemic. Okay? Just not going to happen. Not with our technologies, with the way that everything is arranged nowadays. Not going to happen. This is why we know that anything that represents, there's a viral outbreak, there's a pandemic, there's an epidemic, it's happening around the world. Yeah, BS. Okay? We have so much sophisticated technology. We have the ability to quarantine off a particular area on the planet that would have that, and it would never spread to a worldwide epidemic level. So basically, whenever you hear anything of that nature, that's garbage. Okay? We simply have the technology to do that. And these things have happened in the past as well, too. And we're seeing a lot of back-engineered technology that works to basically isolate that very quickly. If it's anything that represents the genuine article, it is isolated very quickly, it is quarantined very quickly, and it is dealt with very quickly. Right? So again, there's no real genuine fear pertaining to the idea of a worldwide pandemic or a worldwide epidemic. It just can't happen. If we're going a century back, then maybe something like that could happen. But today, no, not really possible. So again, that's why we're getting out of this whole mentality of thinking that, what if it's a genuine virus? What if it's something that's a genuine epidemic that'll just go across the world? Guys, that's not going to happen. Okay? This is more so an agenda, a false flag, a psyop, more than anything else pertaining to anything that they try to do, representing, well, again, as we know with COVID, with what they're trying to do with a water-based virus or water bacteria or anything of that nature. All garbage, right? So we're going to go ahead and put that forward now. We're going to, again, go into that meditative state, just as we did in the last episode of the Signposts Live, where our attention is just being able to preserve and protect the air of the planet, right? So that if there's any false agendas that represent contamination of the air, then that is going to be met with instant karmic return, with instant karmic rebound. Right? So we're basically not letting anything try to deceive. We're not trying to let anything manipulate. We're not trying to let anybody or any particular agency in that way or entity body trying to manipulate the circumstances to feel like the air is poisoned or that the idea that there's an epidemic coming together and no one can breathe the air, just as we did with the water. Okay? So we're basically nullifying false agendas, contrived, manipulated agendas that have anything to do with airborne toxicity or, again, anything relating to viruses within the air. Okay? So that is what we're going to do now. So what I would recommend everybody now, if you want to follow along with me and do this with me, just go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to start off with some heart rate variability first. Then we're going to go into the process itself. So keeping your spine nice and straight, we're going to do 10 rounds of the heart rate variability. Okay, so breathing in for 4 seconds through your nose, breathing out for 6 seconds out through the nose. Okay, let's begin now. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and last one, in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax. Okay. now we're going to go ahead and begin the process of, again, protecting and preserving the air of our planet so that there are no airborne toxins, there are no airborne pathogens, agents, or anything of that nature of a viral, bacterial, radioactive, toxic nature that is looking to be released on a global level, nor will there be any particular capability of any governing body, of any agent whatsoever, to initiate the form of a worldwide emergency over a false premise pertaining to the air quality, pertaining to the nature of the air itself, representing it functioning as a carrier for any virus, any toxicity, any pathogen, any bacterial agent, or anything that is considered harmful to life. So that is our intention, okay? So what I'm doing right now is I'm just creating that chi ball once again. And I want all of you right now, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on recording, doesn't matter. Everything's now, okay? So I want you now just to focus on that intention, just as I've shared, that we are overall protecting and preserving the air quality of the entire planet. And that this will counteract any particular false agenda pertaining to viral outbreaks, bacterial outbreaks, pathogenic outbreaks, anything that attempts to do harm, utilizing air as the carrier to harm life on this planet. Okay? So I just want you to very, very simply look at it in the intention, preserving and protecting the air. Preserving and protecting all of the air on a global scale of the planet Earth. Okay, I just want that to be your intention. Don't worry about visualization. Don't worry about examining. Don't worry about thought. Just make this your intention, that we're preserving and protecting the air of the planet Earth. Keeping it safe from harm, keeping it safe from manipulation, keeping it safe from false agendas, keeping it safe from any attempted implantation that would cause harm to the masses of life upon this planet. Keeping it all safe, keeping it completely protected, keeping it completely preserved. And I want you now just to put that intention, just like you're holding a ball in your hand, and you're just putting it in the ball that you see me holding here, in between my hands here. Just putting that little ball of yours, representing your intention, into the ball I'm holding right now. Okay, so just looking at my hand here, imagining that there is a chi ball here. Don't have to really imagine it, there really is one. Okay, and you're just putting your intention inside that ball. And I can feel you guys putting it in, by the way, because it's getting heavier. I can feel the weight of your intentions coming into the ball. It's an interesting sensation. Okay, we're just going to take a few more seconds just so everybody can do this now. Okay, just putting your intention, putting your small sphere of intention into my sphere here that I'm holding in this hand. Okay, it's really feeling heavy, so a lot of you are putting good intentions here. That's wonderful to see. All right, great job, everybody. Okay, so now that we have done that, I'm just going to put the source center vibration directly into the ball now. So holding it in this hand. Okay, deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, well done, everybody. So what we're going to do before we move on is we're just going to look into the tarot just to see in regards to what we did. All right, preserving, protecting, maintaining safety to the air quality of the planet, to prevent any particular form of viral intrusion, viral injection, and to prevent any false agendas pertaining to the air from being brought forward onto the planet on a mass level that would create any form of fear and hysteria surrounding a viral, bacterial, pathogenic, or toxic outbreak. Okay, so let's take a look at that now. I'm just going to ask the tarot, did we succeed very well with what we have just done in implementing this new intention into the grid of the earth, into the grid matrix of the earth? Okay. Very good. All right. Yeah, we're definitely helping to block out the misers. Definitely helping to block out intentions, evil intentions, I would say, from trying to harm the earth. So this is right now, yes, complete and total success, what we have done. Like I said, we're getting the picture here of the earth. So absolutely appropriate. This is the outcome card. Okay. So the outcome is, yes, we have taken action, putting this around the entire earth. Okay. We also have the Three of Wands right here too, representing the hope or the fear. This is a great hope. This is moving forward in a very positive direction. And what were we doing this for? We were helping to protect the earth from those who are greedy, who are corrupt, who are trying to utilize these particular agendas for their own base ends. Okay. Near future is that they will attempt to do this. They will attempt to, again, work with trying to poison the air, work with trying to poison a lot of the natural elements of the planet. But the good news is there comes intervention. Okay? There comes intervention, there comes truth, there comes exposure, there comes karmic rebound. Through karmic rebound, peace is restored from an attempted destructive agenda-based situation. Okay? So we have certainly succeeded. We've done very, very well, guys, and this is something that we're all doing. I'm just being the carrier. I'm just being the vessel for this. But you guys are also helping tremendously, putting your intentions into this. And like I said, even if you're just watching this through recording, just do this where you are and put that through the chi ball as we did through the exercise. And it will be just as effective, even if you're just watching this through recording. Okay? Very good. Great job, guys. We're doing it, right? We are making the difference. That's a wonderful thing. Okay? So, again, like I said, talking about exposure of scandals to come. So we're really going to see a lot more. The funny thing, I was just talking to a client of mine yesterday, and he's actually an actor in Hollywood. He's been in a few TV shows as well, too. And he was talking to me about, Brad, what's this whole idea about the actors' strike, right? The actors' union that is currently on strike. What's really going on in this thing? I said, well, that's an alibi, right? The whole idea of everything pertaining to Hollywood, even going back to like around 2019, 2020, was being able to take down a lot of the P word, okay, the P-philia that has been going on in Hollywood. And so when we're looking at the actors' strike, this is really just a cover for a greater cleanup that is taking place within Hollywood. The entertainment industry is cleaning itself up majorly, right? So there's takedowns, there's interventions taking place, there's task forces taking place. And a lot of these kind of scuzzy Hollywood, I guess you could say, I don't even call them elitists, really, in that way. But like I said, they've been doing this for quite some time. To me, this feels kind of like an endgame situation relating to the nature of this actors' strike. Okay, this actors' strike is deliberate because, again, there's going to be some more takedowns taking place. There's going to be some more interventions happening that is going to, again, clean Hollywood up and clean up much more of its filth. So let's even take a tarot reading on this, because I'll just ask the same question to the tarot. With the actors' strike that is taking place right now in Hollywood, does this signify a large cleanup that is taking place behind the scenes currently for Hollywood? Okay, and we'll see what the tarot has to say here. Okay, most definitely. It's definitely a big cleanup going on. Still got that other card here that came in the previous reading as well. All right, for a lot of these A-list actors, for a lot of these big shots, so to speak, in Hollywood, I really wouldn't want to be them right now, okay? Because there is a lot of taking down taking place, okay? So we have the Queen of Cups here, so we're representing the idea of focused action. We're looking at focused intention. We're looking at the idea in that sense of an emotional cleanup that's taking place in Hollywood. Of course, a lot of people are focusing on the whole Oprah Winfrey situation of what she's doing with Maui, right? And that's going to be leading to her downfall as well, too, right? So a lot of these A-list celebs, so to speak, a lot of these A-list producers, and a lot of these Hollywood quote-unquote elitists are basically coming to the point where they're going to be apprehended, okay? They're going to have some serious problems going forward in this time ahead, okay? So again, we can see like a worldwide cleanup taking place. This doesn't feel like it's almost as in Hollywood. It's actually happening to other places, perhaps around the world as well, too, pertaining to the entire entertainment industry. It's like we're taking a big sponge and we're just cleaning it up all together, right? So there's been, again, a lot of retaliation. Like this kind of feels like the Oprah Winfrey card right here, right? We want to have donations from you guys for Maui, right? So you guys cause the damage, and then you guys think that you're the solution at the same time, right? So you basically use directed energy weapons. You basically use source point energy weapon, point source energy weapons throughout all of these homes with innocent people that you have caused, and you guys want donations for it. This is typical elitist ploy 101, okay? And this is exactly what people are seeing, right? That they're just feeling disgusted by the way these celebrities are acting. And there's even a conversation with Jason Momoa the other day that I saw on TikTok, where he has had some scammers posing as him, trying to ask for donations on his behalf when he never ever implied the idea whatsoever. And he even said that anybody who's doing this is completely evil, right? So we're seeing a lot of these big name celebs who are also turning over a new leaf, right? We're seeing people like Mel Gibson. We're seeing people like Mark Wahlberg. We're seeing, again, Jim Caviezel. He's always been looking into these things and exposing a lot of the Hollywood garbage that's out there. But this is basically what's happening right now. People are just getting so disgusted by these A-list celebrities and their actions that it's going to lead to, again, consequences, right? This is going to lead to a very challenging time for the entire Hollywood system, right? It's basically going through an overhaul. It has been cleaned up here for the past couple of years, but there's a much more deeper shakedown that's taking place, okay? And it feels like there is going to be an overhaul. This is exactly what I was talking to my client friend yesterday. He was also a Hollywood actor, because he was wondering exactly what was going to be happening to Hollywood. Is it going to be completely and totally shut down? I said, no, it's going to be completely and totally overhauled. And he was asking about Bob Iger, the founder of Disney, or the CEO of Disney, I should say. The CEO of Disney, if he's going to lose his position. I said, oh, you can guarantee that. Very much so, right? So a lot of these CEOs of these big corporations, when it comes to entertainment, yeah, absolutely, they're going to be put in the spotlight. And like I said, there's not a single stone that is going to be left unturned. So if we're looking at Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, he's going to have some difficult times ahead, right? He's going to have some major challenging times ahead, because it feels like there's going to be an outing of him altogether, perhaps a stepping down representing his position, and then somebody new coming in place. So Hollywood is not being dismantled in a way. It's basically being cleaned up and it's being overhauled. And a lot of other corporations are going to be doing that. Big tech as well, too, in time, is going to go through that. But there still needs to be some further exposures. Basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the people mad at all of these particular forms of industries. As these industries are now starting to heat up with great retaliation, this will bring about the appropriate time to therefore go into some shakedowns, to some takedowns, into some overhauls and rebirthing of a lot of these particular industries. Hollywood is still going to be around for many years to come, but it is going to be a completely new Hollywood. It's not going to be at all the Babylonian money magic system. It's not going to be at all the magic. I wouldn't call it magic, really. It's not at all going to be it's not going to be pedo wood anymore, right? It's going to move a lot more into a whole new clean approach. It's going to take some time for that to happen, but that is going to take place. So we're seeing the entertainment industry being turned completely on its head, not a single stone being left unturned, and we're seeing a lot of these particular forms of A-list celebs who are not on the right side, so to speak, basically going to end their careers, right? So they're not going to be getting any more work anymore. To put it lightly, that's the least of the problems, right? They're going to have a lot of things to answer for, right? These entire cultists that have plagued Hollywood for decades are now going to be taken down. And that's where, again, the entire momentum ahead relating to the entertainment industry is going. If we're looking into the political arena, right? Currently, a lot of people have talked about Trump, but then there's this new person. I don't really remember his name altogether. I think his first name is Vivek. I can't remember his last name. Okay, some of you will probably already know what I'm talking about. You probably put his full name on the chat, but I do remember his first name. His name is Vivek. Okay, and he is also a candidate running for president. Now, when I see this guy, at first, is this guy like some sort of businessman or something like that? He has that kind of business edginess to him. Yeah, okay, he is. He's like a successful entrepreneur, successful businessman. He's young. I was talking about a young guy back in 2020, 2021, about a particular candidate that could be coming in to a presidential run that would be much younger and has much more of a cleaner record. This Vivek guy seems to fit the bill for that, right? And there's a couple other people who are also saying that. It feels like there's a younger candidate that's going to be coming in, right? There's Trump, but then there's this younger guy that's going to come in. And it feels like he has much more of a cleaner record. He feels like he's really like a straight shooter. He's got this energy. He's got these new ideas. He's got these new innovations, right? He's kind of putting a new outlook in regards to what the presidency itself represents. So this is just kind of confirming what I was getting in regards to the past, going back a couple of years, looking into this particular new candidate coming in that just has these tendencies. Will he get it? I don't know. But nonetheless, he's gaining some popularity. Right now, it feels like Trump is still the forerunner, but it could certainly change over the next couple of months because this guy is certainly picking up a head of steam, and so we'll see, right? We'll see in that sense, but I would say definitely it's either Trump or it's this new guy, right? One of those two. It certainly isn't going to be Mr. B, all right? Because he's ready to be on the way out, okay? So whoever comes in, whether it's Mr. T or whether it's this new young guy, either way, it's going to be beneficial because this is moving into the counterforce direction, right? So nobody's actually put his name into the chat yet. That's interesting. You guys don't know who I'm talking about? Let's see if I can find him on the web here. Okay, Vivek Ramaswamy, that's his name, okay? Vivek Ramaswamy is his name. Let me just go ahead and put that up on the chat. Surprised you guys haven't like put a name on their chat there. You guys slow today, what's going on? You guys are usually on the ball, right? And you're on it like wildfire. So Vivek Ramaswamy, that is his name, okay? So he again is a presidential candidate. And again, you just kind of look at the guy. He just has energy out the yin-yang, right? But I can just look at him and say, okay, this guy's like a total businessman, right? So I guess businessmen are just starting to get into politics right now. First Trump does it, and now Vivek Ramaswamy is doing it now as well too. So like I said, I think this kid has a lot of promise to him. He's certainly a young man, but I think he could go pretty far into that. So we'll just see how things go over the next couple of months. But it definitely is going to lead into someone of a new leadership position for the United States to come in. We also have another guy here in Canada, Pierre Poilievre. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. He is also being a front runner for, I would say, prime minister in that way. So he just has much more of a rational, logical, common sense approach, which is basically what Canada needs, right? And of course, the new leadership for the U.S. will basically fall around those lines as well too. Practical leadership, basic common sense of these things that need to be taken care of. Eve Mills says, what about Robert F. Kennedy? No. Don't put your hopes too high on those guys. Those guys are good relating to certain things pertaining to the grassroots, to the alternative. But as far as the presidency, no. I'm not sensing anything about him coming into power relating to an authority of presidency whatsoever. Okay, sure, he's a wonderful guy. Sure, he has a lot of good information that he's sharing, but the idea of Robert F. Kennedy coming in, no, I don't see that at all. I would say it's either Trump or it's this new guy. Okay, it's either Vivek Ramaswamy or it's Trump. Okay, and that's just what I'm saying right now as the momentum exists. Momentum can always change, but as the momentum I'm reading right now pertaining to RFK, no, not really a chance for him. Okay, I know a lot of people are behind him. That's great, but the masses aren't. Okay, and like I said, these guys are alternative stream. There's nothing against RFK. Seems like a wonderful person. He's very bright. He's very intelligent. Okay, but he doesn't have that momentum of moving into the mainstream. There's a certain vibration that you need to have to even move into that authoritative run. With all due respect, he doesn't have it. Okay, and I know that's a bummer for some people, but this is just what I'm reading in regards vibrationally. Right now, it's either going to be Trump or it's going to be this young guy. That's really the feeling I get from these two particular potentials. Right now, it feels like as the energy exists right now, Trump, most likely. Okay, he's just so much more popular. Okay, but I think over the next couple of months, this new guy can build up a new head of steam, and he may just be as popular. So we just have to see how things go over the next couple of months. But as the inertia is being read right now, Trump is definitely the forerunner of everything pertaining to new presidential candidacy. Okay, but it could change. It certainly could. But that's the energies I'm reading right now. Okay. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to go ahead and get into some Q&A. Okay, so if you guys do have any questions that you want to share on the chat, if you want to leave a donation as well too, and I think I got a couple donators here, that will put you priority ahead in line. All right, otherwise I will just be looking at the questions on the chat. Okay, so I do have one donation here from Naran. Naran just says, oh, thanks, Brett. Okay, great. Thank you, Naran. But again, if you guys do have a question, if you want to be priority in line, feel free to just put a donation forward and put your question in the donation box. That just makes it easier. Okay. Okay, so this one here is from Reba. Reba says, hi, Brad. Could you advise your understanding on whether there is water both above and below us? I've always felt we lived under a firmament, but I'm not sure about the water element. Thank you. Well, of course, water is what makes up life, right? So when you look at the idea of water above us, well, then you're pretty much looking at water vapor. I've talked about this through the True Nature of the Sun video, right? That it's actually through all of that water vapor, through all of the presence of water above us, that again enables the atmosphere to function as a catalyst in receiving the radiation from the sun, so that it has a type of sonoluminescent effect. Now, sonoluminescence may not be the accurate way of putting it, but it's the closest thing I can convey in our language about what is happening when the sun's radiation impacts our own atmosphere. And our atmosphere functions together as a type of transformer that is transforming that radiation together into heat and into light. And then again, those rays bouncing back and forth upon the planet and back up again. And oxygen is being the carrier of that heat and of that light. So that again, the warmth of the planet will often come to where there is the greatest concentration of oxygen. And where is the greatest concentration of oxygen? It's around the equatorial areas of the planet. Okay? But as we start to move up into higher elevations, we notice that it gets colder. That's because there's less oxygen. As there's less oxygen, this is again why we have ice-capped mountains. It's why when you go up into the mountains, the air is very thin and you're freezing cold. And as we continue to go further and further up the atmosphere, everything just feels, again, absolutely freezing cold. And so oxygen plays a role as a catalyst carrier that represents the atmosphere receiving the sun's radiation to therefore create that sonoluminescent effect that is again penetrating those rays of heat and light upon the planet. Okay? So again, I'm basically giving you guys, and I'm not a scientist, okay? This is what I've discovered through my own research. This is what I've discovered through my own intuition. And the best way I can put it, right? I would like to see scientists actually being able to take something like that and explain it even better than I can, okay? But I'm not a PhD, right? I don't have a scientific degree or anything of that nature. I'm coming from this just simply as a researcher. I'm coming at this simply as an intuitive. to give some particular type of impression about how it works. Okay? And that's how the sun works. And again, it is water vapor above us that again helps in the functioning of that catalyst to bring about the sunlight, the warmth that we require for the earth itself to sustain herself. Now, even if we're looking beneath our oceans, we actually see another layer of deeper oceans that are actually 3 times deeper than the oceans we have upon the surface of the planet, which means the entire planet herself would be about 3/4 water. Okay, just very similar to our body, where you can look at about 65, 75. Again, the percentages vary based upon the percentage of fluids within the human body. And then again, looking at the planet and looking at her fluidic content would probably be close to about 3/4, right? So again, it would match very closely to how our body is, right? Just again, we resemble the earth in many different ways. She has organs as well too, right? Her organs are the land. Her organs are the water. Her organs are also all forms of life that are contained upon her surface, right? She is a body, just like we are, just of a different type. So when you're looking at the idea of water below and water above, you're absolutely correct with that, Reba. You're right, okay? But it works a lot more differently in regards to this context, as I'm talking about, like I discussed in my video with the true nature of the sun, okay? So we have all kinds of water vapor above us. We have our oceans beneath us, in the way of putting it, okay? All throughout the cosmos as well, too. You will find an abundance of water, okay? Now, really, when we're looking into the nature of light itself, well, light is basically hydrogen, okay? So whenever you're looking at the nature of light itself, you are looking at hydrogen, okay? Hydrogen is the catalyst to making light what it is, because all hydrogen really is high vibrational light, right? It's light of a very high caliber, you could say. So again, immensely powerful, immensely high vibrational light is hydrogen, okay? And again, hydrogen is abundant throughout the entire cosmos. That again is what brings the light into its catalyst, is the effect of hydrogen, okay? So I'm not too sure if scientists have talked about this. Ken Wheeler has talked about it quite profoundly, right? I said, yeah, that makes sense. Adronis has talked about the importance of hydrogen in the past as well, too. So hydrogen serves a very strong purpose pertaining to the catalytic effect of the cosmos, and therefore representing high-frequency light. Okay? So there's a lot more to our universe that modern science just hasn't touched because they just don't understand it. They're trying to compartmentalize everything. They're trying to quantify everything. And so why would you want to quantify the infinite? It just doesn't work. The human scale needs to go because there is an unfathomable scale. There is the scale that is not a scale. It's simply the infinite. And it's to harmonize with that. It's not to say that we cannot utilize mathematical properties or fractal properties or anything of that for the sake of certain degrees of convenience to develop something finite to assist in the service of ourselves. But if you're trying to look into the entire structure of the universe, if you're working with finites, you're way off, right? You have to start working together with the nature of the infinite. You have to look at the unfathomable scale rather than trying to have this arrogance of thinking that the human scale is the only scale that exists and this is how everything should be. That is the perfect example of someone trying to cast their image and thinking that the universe needs to obey me. The universe needs to follow my lead. I'm beating this drum and it better dance to my drum or else. That is the arrogance and the ignorance of something that I want to really term as science. I would basically refer to that as cultism. Because you basically have a cult of quantum. You have a cult of relativity. And because they're not following the natural premise of how the universe truly operates, they're trying to implant their own image into how the universe operates. And all of their theories are going to fall apart. It's exactly why there's theories and there's not facts, right? So again, you need to start working with how the universe, let the universe share with you exactly how it works. And that all works together with energy, vibration, frequency, of magnetism, of the dielectric field, of the ether. Okay? Ether perturbation is what makes the universe the universe. Everything that represents conception, idea, intention, is that very perturbation that folds the ether inside out, that gives it that hyperboloid toroidal geometry to where pressure mediation is taking place. And the pressure mediation that is taking place pertaining to the magnetism representing the dynamism of the toroidal field is what's making life as form exist. Life as form exists due to the magnetism contained within the dielectric field that is found within the model of the hyperboloid torus geometry. Those are the only real two geometries that exist. The hyperboloid, the hourglass shape, that is basically static and doesn't move. And then you have the torus, which represents its opposite. It's kind of like its negative image, right? If you're folding it, then you basically have a torus, which represents dynamism, which is the moving of the magnetism, right? And again, functions together through pressure mediations. That when you have low pressure systems, like in weather, for example, we have low pressure systems, we have high pressure systems, okay? When we're looking at the nature of magnetism, that is the very thing that is sustaining the form, right? Our whole body is built on magnetic harmonic. It's all built on vibrational standard. It's all based upon frequency dynamics, okay? And that's what makes us what we are. And it's the process primarily of sound. And sound emanating certain degrees of frequency, working together with the nature of hydrogen, condensing itself into appropriate states of light, so that it's moving ourselves into understanding the nature of form, the nature of dynamism, the nature of action, the nature of movement, the nature of continuity. It's all magnetic, okay? So magnetism, again, is the exact same thing as the dielectric, okay? So you could say we have living prana and we have cosmic prana. Living prana, magnetism. Cosmic prana, the dielectric. And then, of course, the ether, to where all life resides. The ether is the one and only element. Everything pertaining to fire, water, earth, air, okay, even if we're going into Chinese philosophy, if we're going into wood, if we're going into metal, okay, these all represent certain forms of submaterial elemental properties. Because, again, they cannot affect the ether. Can the ether be burned? Can the ether be soaked? Can the ether be blown away by the wind? Can the ether be buried by the earth? Can the ether be buried by the metal? Can the ether be buried by wood? No. Therefore, there is only one primordial element, and the one primordial element is the ether. Okay? Everything that represents our common elements, you could basically refer to as material elements, and that's fine, but truly they are sub-elemental because they are brought into being due to the magnetic process, due to the magnetic intention of ourselves, magnetic intention of how life itself is streamed into being, right? The elements representing part of that architecture, that infrastructure that helps to make the universe what it is, but the universe is what it is through the nature of the inverted folding of the ether. All of that can basically come right back into the ether again, where basically if you have magnetism and you're putting a very high charge into that magnetism, that body that basically was sustained by that magnetism will vanish, which means it will be destroyed. Okay? Guys, energy can be destroyed. Now, again, that's completely spitting in the face of everything that science has taught us. Oh, no, you can't destroy energy. You can transfer it, you can move it, right? It can take different forms, but it can't be destroyed, and that's complete BS. It can be destroyed. Ask an electrician who works on generators, and they'll tell you exactly, oh yeah, energy can be destroyed, because you're looking at interference patterns that are basically discharging that magnetism back into the ether. It's a dielectric discharge that therefore discharges all of that magnetic energy back into the ether, right? So again, with enough charge, you would just simply be gone, right? The whole body would lose its cohesion pertaining to magnetism and return back into the ether. But you, as who you are, as soul, as spirit, will always be, because you are beyond all those things. You're beyond magnetism, and you're beyond the dielectric. You are the ether. You are spirit. You are the divine. You are God. right? Exactly as I've been talking about so many times, okay? So there's a little bit more of an extra overview to get an idea about just a premise about how the universe exists, okay? And like I said, I'm not coming from it from a scientist, I'm coming at much more at it from a point of an intuitive, okay? Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. This one here is from Darling. Darling says, "Hi Brad, any new updates on our Canadian money system changing over in regards to this year or the next?" So let's go ahead and take a look at that, because financial scandals are certainly taking place, right? So they're trying to put up this, again, ridiculous digital currency, right, that is government controlled, or I should say liberal controlled. But let's take a look in the idea of how the money system for Canada is going to be turning out here. Okay. So updates on our Canadian money system changing over in regards to this year or next. Okay, so let's take a look. Are there going to be some profound changes within the Canadian money system between now and the next few months? Okay, let's see what the tarot has to say about that. Okay, so what I'm getting here is it's a feeling that it is going to be changing for the better. Yes, okay, so like I said, new financial system is coming out. It's not just through the idea of what BRICS is doing, that's a part of it, but there's something much more deeper on the rise that will basically impact every single country. So could this relate to the nature of digital currency? It certainly would, yes, okay. For Canada, I don't know if it's any gold-backed currency or anything like that, but right now we're kind of getting out of the swamp relating to how the money system is currently, right? To how it has been manipulated, to how basically the Canadian government has been just doing nothing but printing a whole bunch of money and creating a whole bunch of inflation, okay? So from what I'm getting here, for the result of the situation, things majorly are going to start changing, and this may represent the idea of changing of leadership. This may be, again, changing in the guard pertaining to financial management, okay? So again, a lot of everything pertaining to Canada's stock, everything pertaining to Canada's money supply is going to be going through a sophisticated form of change. Okay, it's going to be flipping around here, which means we could see some dark times before we see some light times. Okay, so it's kind of like it needs to get worse before it gets better, but it is going to get better. That's the good news. Okay, but there still needs to be a lot more exposure pertaining for Canadians, right? Again, how they're seeing how these I would just basically call them cronies. How these cronies have basically just been printing and printing and printing and printing money. Why have they been doing that? Because they're trying to bail out their bosses, right? Their bosses are, again, these high elitists, and they're running out of money, and so they're telling, just print out a bunch of money so we can have it, right? And then they're basically just creating more and more of this inflation, right? So as this inflation happens, yeah, it's going to be a bit of it's going to get worse before it gets better, guys. And I'd love to tell you that it is going to get better, but it's not going to get better right away, right? So there's still a lot of deception. There's still a lot of playing of the strings here, manipulations of the puppets that need to come forward. Basically, Mr. Castro himself needs to be taken out of power, okay? And this is what I've been talking about previously with that chessboard analogy, right? Where the king is in the corner. You have all these pieces surrounding him, and you're just waiting for that king to make the wrong move. And that is definitely coming up very soon. I'd say between now and before the end of the year, we're going to see something majorly taking place that represents the taking out of the old guard, taking out of the old regime pertaining to Canada. Because this is a Canadian question, guys. I know a lot of you talk about the world, but this is a question in regards to Canada. Okay, so again, a lot of the old Canadian crooked guard being taken out of the fold altogether, okay? And it looks like new leadership is going to be coming together as well too, okay? So there needs to be some new change pertaining to finance. It is going to take some time for these new financial systems to take hold in that way. A lot of it is going to be digital currency, right? But it's going to be put together in a much more appropriate way. It's not going to be used for the leverage pertaining to corrupt politicians, to corrupt leaders, to corrupt oligarchs, okay? That is basically what is going to take place. So, as I've said, guys, we're basically moving into an age right now where everything's going to be digital, where everything's going to be computerized, where everything's going to be internet-based, where there's going to be a lot more development of AI, where there's eventually going to be development of synthetic humans, right? Where we're seeing a lot more of this happening. especially over the next 10, 20, 30 years. Okay, we're moving much more into a lighter age, right? It's the age of air, so to speak. And a lot of things are now starting to lighten up a lot more. It's kind of like the age of Aquarius, right? The age of Aquarius is an air sign, okay? So moving into the age of Aquarius, where it's air, everything is going to technologically expand. Everything pertaining to lighter innovations is going to expand. But this will also bring about greater creativity. This is also going to bring about greater dynamics of phenomenal change, where everything pertaining to our world is going to expand because we're going to start becoming a spacefaring civilization, okay? And money supply is going to be changing as well too. Like I said, it's going to be much more moving into the digital currencies. I know a lot of people like the idea of solid currencies, looking into gold-backed currencies, and there may still be some of that, but like I said, it'll still be operated on a digital platform, okay? So everything is just moving into a lighter framework pertaining to digital goods, digital services, right? Digital funds, digital finance. So we really can't avoid that, guys. That is basically just going to happen. That's just the momentum of where we're going as it pertains to a new age that's ahead. But again, what we can do is get a lot of the filthy hands out of the cookie jar pertaining to finances, right? So there needs to be some things happening relating to the exposure, further exposure of certain governmental leaders. Again, you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? But it needs to get more intense. It needs to get very shaky, right? A lot more things need to be stirred up first before we can have better things happening, okay? So that's really where we're at right now. I'd love to say, okay, guys are going to be getting better. It is going to get better, but you got to go through the trenches of all these things first before it can get better, okay? It needs to get worse before it gets better, but the better time is coming, right? So my suggestion for you guys is, like I said, when it comes to, some people are leaving Canada, that's the thing. A lot of these young kids in that sense decide that they're going to be leaving, so I can't stand the inflation rates here. It's almost next to impossible to try and buy a house here, and I may want to leave. And if that's something you want to do, then do it, right? Nothing much I can suggest other than that sense of riding out this storm, putting your own intentions forward, making sure you're being taken care of, working with the greater state of your abundance. And maybe that involves leaving Canada for a time. Maybe it does, right? Either that or holding out and just ride the waves of these storms, because it is going to get worse, but that worse is going to be temporary before it does get better. The whole old leadership needs to go. Simple as that. Okay? All right, darling, so thank you very much for your question. Okay. It's going down the list here a bit more. Okay, here's one from Alina. Alina says, Brad, can we put a shield to protect against the hurricane and weather manipulation? Yes, you certainly can. All right, it's very much like what I've been teaching you guys as you're learning about the power of intention, okay? So really one of the best exercises to do pertaining to the nature of sheltering yourself, right, putting a field up that represents a powerful magnetism so you're not being affected by those things, is number one, create an energy ball, right? Just create a chi ball just like this, and then set an intention. That intention does not have to be visual, okay? You're just setting your intention so that you're aligning to the vibration of the intention. What is beyond the visual spectrum is intention, okay? That is the top of the pyramid. So if you start working together with the nature of intention, where you're completely immune to any particular form of weather manipulation that's taking place, right? And that can be your intention. I am completely immune to any weather manipulation that is taking place. I am immune to any particular form of hostile weather patterns that are taking place, or my home is immune to any particular hostile weather patterns that are taking place. My family is immune, okay? So I'm putting that bubble together. Once I put that bubble together, I just want you to Om chant into that bubble, okay? So I want you just to Om chant, because what you're doing is you're bringing forward the source center vibration directly into the bubble, okay? And I'd like you to Om chant at least 3 times, whether you're doing it vocally or whether you're doing it mentally, okay? So as soon as you put that intention in, this is what you're doing inside. Om, Om, Om. Then send it up to the ether. Simple as that. Just send it up, and it's done, okay? And you will know that even if these particular storms come together, they will be happening right before you, but you will not personally be affected by it because you have altered your grid. Okay? You have altered your harmonic to become immune. Like I said, you're putting that source-centered vibration directly into your intention. You're giving it the divine unification coding that it requires to therefore propagate into your grid so that you're completely immune. So you may be in the city where a hurricane comes over, but you'll notice that you are not damaged by it. Okay, there may be others in your neighborhood that may be damaged by it, and maybe you want to offer assistance to them. Maybe you want to teach this to your neighbors as well too, if they're receptive to it. Okay, not everybody is, because what I'm teaching you guys here is pretty advanced stuff. Okay, it's simple, but it's advanced spiritual understanding. Okay, I wouldn't even call it spiritual. It's just the idea that it's much more intention driven, right? It's a lot more greater depth of yourself, right? These are deeper inner practices. How's that for a label? These are deep inner practices that not everybody is being aware of. I'm teaching you guys something that is radically advanced, but super simple. Okay? And that's really all it takes. Put an energy ball together, focus on your intention, put that intention inside the energy ball, Om chant 3 times, put it into the ether. When you put it into the ether, that is now connecting together to the harmonic of your own field. And therefore, as you let it go and you let it do its work, you're going to notice that none of these things are going to harm you. Okay? If you want to pass it on and teach it to others, please do. See? They may ask, well, how did you figure this out? Oh, it's just an advanced inner practices technique I got off the internet. Oh, okay. Right? Then that's fine as well too. But it's true. Not everybody is going to digest a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing here. But what I do is I try to keep all these things as simple as possible. Right? They're advanced, but they're simple in regards to their functionality, in regards to how they can be implemented into yourself. Okay? But like I said, all it takes is that. It's just working together with the unified vibration that represents the Om chanting. Right? So the Om chant is the source center vibration. You keep working with that. You put that up into the ethers. That is going to magnetize directly into your grid, and you're going to be fine. Okay? Feel free to pass that on if you like. No problem. All right, thank you, Elena. Okay, let's go down the list here a bit more. And Brad Porter, he's one of my students. He said, I just started to sign up the Etherics Academy last weekend, and it's great. I highly recommend signing up. It's well worth it. We had a great first class, so I really enjoyed it. So, yes, we're going to be going through some very deep learning, some deep understanding, some deep inner practices. Okay, it's exactly what the Academy is all about. So, like I said, sign up while you can, up until the 18th. Okay, going down the list here a bit more. All right, going down further. Okay, here's one from Turn Up Every Day. Hi, Brad. Can Adronis give us some insight of what is happening with Germany at the moment? Okay, so there's a question here in regards to Germany. So I will go ahead and bring Adronis in, and he can share some insight pertaining to that. Okay? One moment. Terra Soul Star Sirius We are here at this time. We bid you greetings and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. We thank you very much for the question pertaining to your country, as it is termed as Germany. What is taking place currently in regards to this country, as it would relate to, as we will say, change? Well, again, you have to understand that a lot of things pertaining to Germany is like watching a hot plate heat up. You basically want to get the element to the point of red hotness. And as that red hotness takes place, people will no longer be able to tolerate it anymore. And so there again is going to be a much more greater stand. There's going to be a greater, shall we say, penetration from the power of those affected by the, shall we say, standards and policies and procedures, regulations, enforcements being brought forward through by the German government, that again people will basically be in such a level of protest that everything will need to change. And that is precisely what is taking place right now. It's a heating up time. It is, again, as we have talked about, through many different countries that have been in the limelight relating to what is taking place right now. All of these things are basically hidden secrets contained in the shadows, where the light is now coming upon that particular land, and the shadows are now starting to diminish. As they diminish, rotten secrets are being exposed. Rotten secrets pertaining to the integrity of your politicians, pertaining to the integrity of your financial administrators, pertaining to the integrity of your law enforcement, of your military, of many different facets that govern the entire nature of the mainframe that represents that country's integrity. The entire integrity of the country is brought into question. And that hot plate, that red hot element is heating up. Because again, this is what's representing the irritability of the people that are therefore facing the brunt of that lack of integrity. And therefore, as it continues to heat up, more and more people need to be involved. There again is, as you would say, a particular degree of critical mass that needs to be reached. When we talk about the critical mass pertaining to that country, is that we would say that the people are no longer tolerating it. It is now reaching the majority of the people, at least 2/3 majority, to where they are now standing up and saying no more. And Germany is still going through that particular process, because what you are looking at right now are the results of these old guards, old regime members that do not even care what the people think. They're just trying to fulfill agendas. They're just trying to, again, follow the orders from their own higher-ups. But what they're discovering right now is a lot of their higher-ups are being taken down. They're not even able to get a lot of what they're attempting to receive from their higher-ups, because their higher-ups are now starting to be taken out of the picture. And they are being left more so on their own, and they're basically just sticking with the playbook until there again is a move in. It is very much like what Brad has told you, relating to the chessboard analogy, that there's a lying in wait taking place right now, and that there needs to be, again, a false maneuver committed by that opposing side for there to be an intervention. But again, they're just waiting. They're basically in the bushes just waiting to pounce. But again, there needs to be a movement first that is going to take place, because this is going to be synchronized with many other countries as well. This is going to lead to a very large, shall we say, game-changing move that is going to affect not just one country or a couple of countries. Pretty much all countries upon your planet are going to be affected by this worldwide move, because there are a great number of militaries contained in different countries that are all coordinating with each other to take down the nature of the old regime, the nature of the old guard. There have been strategies that have already started to weaken its defenses altogether, to where all that remains now is the king, setting up the king for checkmate. So Germany is going through that. Again, it's hot times, it's heated times. This again is what the remainder of your 2023 will be like, where there will be again intensities, where again, as Brad stated, things need to be a little bit worse before they get better. But we would not really utilize the term worse. It's just the idea that the pressure is now starting to go up. As that pressure therefore bottles over, it is going to lead into resolve. This is all part of the process that needs to take place, as there is a lying in wait situation taking place here. This again is how the military has configured it to move into that way. for there to be new operations that will be applied that will lead into the complete and total removal of the old regime in question. This is also happening in your country termed as Germany. All right? We thank you very much for your question. Okay. So again, guys, this is exactly what I've been saying for many months. I know a lot of you guys come to me asking about your countries, and I said, guys, it's pretty much the same answer, right? And some countries are slow, some countries are quick, right? But basically you could say that all countries are kind of at that point right now, where again, you almost look at the world as a hot plate, right? And the entire hot plate is now getting hotter and hotter, and the pressure is going to build. It's kind of like we were seeing this hot plate, this pressure pot, this pressure cooker on top of a hot plate that's ready to just burst, okay? And that's exactly what needs to happen. So no, we need to heat this up. We need to heat this up. We need to get more and more people completely aware about what's happening so that nothing like this ever needs to happen again. We're looking at our own collective karma, right? And it needs to heat up, and it needs to heat up, and it needs to reach a boiling point where we see so much corruption, where we see so much entanglement of all of these things, that we would never, ever, in a million years, ever go back to that again, right? And I know people want it their own way, but it's not up to you. It's not your world, okay? This is something that is collectively being decided, and it therefore needs to be played out in the way that it needs to be played out. I would love to say, okay, guys, it's going to be over tomorrow. No, this is going to play itself out for a bit longer, because that pressure needs to build so that people realize that all of this stuff that has been happening behind the scenes can never, ever happen again, because it's ingrained us that we are never, ever letting leaders like this in again in regards to political power. We are never, ever getting people to manipulate our finances, manipulate our politicians, manipulate our very way of life. All of this is never going to happen again, and that needs to come through high pressure situations, high pressure realizations. You can only stick your head in the sand for so long before you have to come up for air, right? So this is exactly why it is happening, right? This is something that I've been continuing to talk about for the past 3 years, right? It hasn't changed. It's still the same. If anything, it's been heating up more and more, but it is getting to the point of culmination, okay? This is a question here from The Bringer. The Bringer says, is it a good idea for the older or retired Americans on a low fixed income to seek affordable housing outside of the U.S.? I really can't tell you, Bringer, okay? Because I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not a financial advisor in that way. You're really asking the wrong person in regards to this, okay? I'm not trying to come across, guys, as a financial consultant, as a political consultant, okay? I basically look at the nature of energies. And basically what I can say there is that, well, compared to Canada, right, America actually has a lower inflation rate, right? But for Americans to be on a low fixed income to seek affordable housing outside of the U.S., well, what I can say is that some Canadians are doing that as well, too. Okay, I'm Canadian, guys. I'm not American. Okay, so from people who I've met, basically are planning to leave Canada and basically want to go off into Europe and basically find more affordable housing there. And that's an option. I really can't tell you guys what the best thing for you to do. You have to decide that for yourself. Some people may decide to move to different states in the U.S. Maybe there's some affordability there. Again, some people may decide to leave their country and go off for a certain time until things start to dampen down. You have to make your own decisions about that, because none of those decisions are wrong. But you have to decide exactly what's best for yourself, and if you're with your family, something that is best for you and your family. Okay? I don't really have any particular one single idea that could be better here. Maybe even in Canada, if there's a certain province that maybe has something better than the province you're in, that might be an idea as well too. It all just depends, right? It just depends upon the person. There's no one answer relating to all of this. It's all best to look into what you feel is best for you, whether it's for retired people, whether it's for veterans, right? Whether it's for, again, students, whether it's for the middle age, whatever it may be. It's for every human being, okay? And you have to decide exactly what's best. There is no one better option than the other. It's best for what you're going through, okay? Thank you, Bringer. Okay, going down the list, we're going to take about 2 or 3 more questions before we wrap up. Okay. Yeah, Judith says, I don't trust Vivek as well. He has many skeletons in the closet. Well, here's the thing, guys. Whenever you are basically in politics, you're going to have some skeletons in the closet. Right? And I don't think that's avoidable. I think he has less skeletons in the closet as it pertains to Trump, right? But like I said, he's kind of a younger guy. And as far as the political campaign goes, he has much more of a cleaner record, right? But I kind of get that feeling from him that he has that kind of, that business mindset, and he can be pretty ruthless at times as well too, right? He's got that kind of attitude. He's got that kind of kingly mentality to himself, right? It feels like he has used other people to get to where he is, okay? And fortunately, that's again with a lot of these eccentric billionaires. It's what they do. They will basically start to step over the shoulders of other people to get where they are in the position of power, right? But again, they will utilize such a person who has, again, a certain level of popularity that equates with the nature of where the mainstream itself wants to go, right? This is why I say a lot of people who are like RFK, that's great, guys. And like I said, he's a wonderful person as well, too. But he doesn't have enough momentum, right? He doesn't have that vibration on authoritarian level to be president, okay? And some of you may not like that I say that, but this is just what I'm getting from his energy as I step into it. You can look into it your own perspective as well, too. But everything I share here is my perspective, my point of view, okay? And I think it's going to really come down to one of those two, either Trump or Vivek, okay? But yeah, I mean, if you're in politics, you're probably not going to be an angel when you're coming into politics. You're probably going to have some pretty questionable backgrounds. But as far as his political campaign goes, much more cleaner than Trump's, all right? So again, we just have to see exactly how things go over the next couple of months. Momentum can always change, okay? All right. Let's go down the list here a bit more. I think we'll look into Vivek as well, too. Why don't we go ahead and do a reading on him and see how things go with him, all right? Could he be a powerful contender as a presidential candidate, all right? Could he have a potential of being a presidential candidate, all right? Let's take a look. Okay, so I do feel that he was brought in by request, okay? This is something that I feel like he was basically offered. I feel like he was offered presidential candidacy, okay? I don't feel like this is something that he genuinely just said, oh, what the heck, I'll just go ahead and be president. Feels like this is something that was bestowed upon him, okay? Feels like this is something that was planted on him in that way, and that he's actually moving in that particular way. But I do feel that this is a counterforce move, okay? And I do feel that this is actually something pertaining to the counterforces relating to choosing their guy, because maybe they're not too sure about Trump. So this is interesting. There's kind of like a dual campaign here as it represents the counterforces. So the feeling I'm getting here is that he was brought in, right? This is something that he was basically chosen. He was hand-selected to be this particular new candidate, maybe in case something pertaining to Trump doesn't pan out, that he would be kind of like the backup, or maybe he could gain a greater surge of popularity to be initiated. Because as we know, guys, like all presidents have been handpicked, right? It's never just the idea of a genuine, authentic election, right? I don't think we've ever seen anything like that. But again, this feels like somebody who's been handpicked. Feels like somebody who has been kind of like chosen out of the crowd and say, okay, Vivek, we'd like to give you an opportunity as a presidential candidate, right? And he took the ball and he ran with it, okay? And that's kind of the feeling I'm getting. So it's kind of like, it's almost like it was a snap decision as well, too. It just feels like maybe they were watching some of the situations with Trump and they were concerned maybe he won't get in. And so maybe we'll get this young guy who has a lot of potential, who basically has that type of vibrational state to move into a presidential campaign, into moving into a presidential elect, okay? And so it feels like this is something that was made hastily, Okay? Because I'm getting the feeling here in the past that this represents the Two of Swords. Feels like something was getting very unsettling pertaining to Trump, right? They're just not too sure if he's being targeted for assassination. They're not too sure if he's going to make it through the entire race. And we want to bring in a second candidate. Maybe we can get someone in there who can, again, follow more of the counterforce regime of things. But again, in case maybe something that Trump fails, or maybe there's somebody here who's new, who could basically take Trump's place, let's bring somebody new in, right? And this is what I was feeling a couple of years ago, was that there's going to be this young guy. There's a young guy coming in, and it feels like he's really a go-getter. He doesn't feel like he has a tarnished record like Trump does. Feels like he's very new to the political scene, like he's brand spanking new. And this completely fits the bill of exactly what I was feeling a couple of years ago. Like, he fits the bill tremendously, right? I don't know if he's going to be the next president. I really can't say. Momentum-wise right now, like I said, it feels like Trump is still the forerunner. But again, like I said, things can change over the next little while. So even if I'm saying these things right now, over the next little while, things can transform, okay? So, but it feels like, again, he has been appointed into this role. I think there's a very good future for him, okay? So we got the world here in the near future. He has a very promising ability to be the next president, like really promising, okay? So it feels like this is something where he's kind of charging in. He's letting himself be known, okay? But this still needs to kind of play out in certain ways, right? There's still time that needs to come together to see exactly how well he establishes himself. Could he be the next president? He most certainly could, right? He certainly has the drive. He certainly has the ambition. He's certainly getting the support to be the next guy. But yes, he was brought in. Okay, this is not somebody who just says, oh, what the heck, I'm just going to be president of the United States. No. He was handpicked. He was hand-chosen, okay, by the higher counterforces, okay? So the good news, it's not dark cult. The good news, it's much more counterforce relating to that. But he was handpicked to be this guy. And say, we're just not too sure about what Trump's going through right now. It just feels like he's the backup plan for Trump, but he may turn out to be something even more, okay? So very, very interesting here. Sounds interesting. Okay, so that's what I got for him, all right? Let's, I think someone was saying that Janine was looking at him as well too. Okay, Janine was looking at him and thinking that he was kind of positioned in that certain way. I would completely agree with that, yes. He definitely has been hand-picked, right? As politicians will be, right? This is why I say a lot of people who like Robert F. Kennedy, I'm sorry guys, he's not on the list, right? If this was a genuine presidency, you would see someone like Robert F. Kennedy coming together like that. No problem, okay? This is not a genuine presidency, guys. This is a three-ring circus, right? Do you guys still believe that the presidency is legit? Do you still believe that it's actually a legitimate system that can be genuinely given to someone who is, again, of integrity and of, again, that kind of genuine nature of moving into what's best? No. Okay? That's not what it is. This is a three-ring circus, my friends. Okay? This is a soap opera. So again, they got to basically pick certain candidates, again, that will follow and play ball with the counterforces, but it's not a genuine selection, okay? Someone's picking, okay, you're it. Go make a campaign. That's it, guys. Nothing genuine about it at all. It's a three-ring circus, okay? Presidency is a three-ring circus. Politics is a three-ring circus. Mainstream media is a three-ring circus. None of it's real. Right? It's just going back to what I've been saying so many times. And this is why I said, Robert F. Kennedy's my guy. Okay, that's great. And he's a great guy. But he's not going to get in. Okay? Because you got to have the finger pointed. Counterforces says, yes, you. Okay? Robert F. Kennedy has those kind of connections. Maybe he'll be pointed at some point in the future. But no. I'm not getting anything about him getting into office, okay? Sorry, guys, I'm just giving you my perspective here, okay? If you don't like it, hey, that's okay. But I'm giving you my perspective nonetheless. Okay. Okay, well, Chris has this question, but I've answered this question quite a few times. So the question is just, when will we see the price of silver begin to go up? I've already talked about this, right? So basically, in that sense, we're going to start seeing it starting to move up a little bit close to the end of the year. but it's going to go down as well too, right? When you guys are looking into the investment of mineral ores, whether it's silver or gold, silver does have quite a bit of momentum behind it. Again, I'm not being a stock market professional here, but as I talked about, it may have a little bit of a surge coming up here as we get closer to the end of the year, but then it's going to fall down again, right? And it's just going to continue to have these ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. So there may be a spike coming, maybe October, November, in that way, from what I was detecting from the cards previously before. But then it's not going to last very long, okay? Then it's going to kind of even out or plane out, level out in that way, okay? Really what I would say, guys, if you know how to play the stock market, you'll get to know algorithms. I've never played with it, right? I've never looked at it. Sometimes I'll just get certain impressions of the cards. But there are people who are able to really kind of study the algorithms when it comes to the stock market. And that's what you have to be. You have to be kind of like a stock market guru. I'm not really the person to ask about the quality of silver, about how well it's going to do in that way. I can give you certain types of forecasts, like, okay, it looks like it's going to move maybe a little bit closer to the end of the year, have a little bit of a high period, and then it may start to level itself out again. But that's really all I can give you, right? Because I just don't do stock market, right? I'm not a stock market guru. So that's a better question towards someone who's like really knowing their stuff pertaining to the stock market, okay? Okay, guys, we are out of time for today's episode. Just as a reminder, I'm not going to be available tomorrow. I do have to go for a checkup with my shoulder tomorrow morning, so I will not be available. But I will be doing New Earth TV Live at a special time this week on Sunday, okay? So Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific, there will be a special episode of New Earth TV Live, where, of course, I will be doing a communication with Adronis, Q&A, and there will be some distance healing requests as well, too. But a reminder that the new distance healing sessions are up on newearthteachings.com. All right, and again, go ahead and check out etherics.co. We got some new variants of the visor sunglasses. We also got new variants of the essential oils. Right, so go ahead and check out etherics.co. Remember the discount, capital letters, September 20. Thank you so much, everybody, and I'll talk to you again on Sunday for the special episode of New Earth TV Live. All right. Take care, guys, my friends. Take care. Much love to you all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaskar. And may it be well with you. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to New Earth Teachings on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can do private sessions with me, and also etherics.co. And through Etherics, you'll be able to pick up your Healing Code Cards body deck, your mind deck, and your energy deck through Etherics. You will also be able to pick up the Etherbed kit. That is also on Etherics as well. Not to mention that you'll also be able to pick up some apparel and accessories that is also available on Etherics. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaskar, and may it be well with you.